Okay, so we are back with another Rants and Review. This is a board game that we are a huge fan of, but this is not the board game itself specifically, but a different expansion of it. This is Red Dragon Inn, and they created a collaboration with Second Wind for Adventure Is Nigh. So you have the Adventure Is Nigh characters in the game to play with. They did two versions of this, one in the style of Adventure Is Nigh, and one in the style of Red Dragon Inn. We picked up the one that was in the style of Red Dragon Inn because, like we said, we're a huge fan of Red Dragon Inn. So you can see the artwork here is more in tune specifically with the Red Dragon Inn style if you're a huge fan of Adventure Is Nigh. But that doesn't mean that you won't like this game because it's not in the art style that you're used to. So open this up, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Okay. So Red Dragon Inn is a game that takes place not during the adventure where everyone goes out and kills monsters, but it takes place during the downtime between the events. So after you've killed all the monsters, you come back to the bar, you're laden with the gold from your adventure, and now you drink, party, and have fun with your friends until it's time to once again go out and adventure forth. In the game, you have player sheets that represent your character, and those character sheets specifically will represent your alcohol level versus your health. Nice. So you got Mortimer, Sigmar, Grinderbin, and Dabarella. So you are given 4 health tokens to represent how healthy you are. Oh, they actually gave us a 5th one. That's so nice of them. And of course, drink tokens represent how drunk you are. Because you are at a bar, you will be drinking. Then they give you plenty of gold. So there are a couple ways in which you will end this game. One of which is if your health ever hits or goes below your alcohol level, you are drunk, pass out, and the bartenders will pull you out, throw you onto the street, and tell you sober up for your next adventure. The game is over for you now. The other way that you can end the game traditionally is that you run out of gold. Therefore, you can no longer be a patron at this establishment, and you are kicked out for being, I guess, just poor. So during the game, you want to be careful with how you allocate your money in buying rounds of drinks and other effects. Now, the game does appear to have additional tokens, and we'll talk about those in a second. But you can take the gold and put that over to the side for now. So they do give you these little gemstones that you can use in place of the tokens for health and alcohol, but I do like those. With regards to the spoons, you're just going to take those, punch those out, and place them near Dabarella. For when they need it on their turn. And you'll take the light gems and you'll place them right next to Mortimer. Now, Mortimer, Dabarella, and Grinderbin have their own little rule sets for their character play, but Sigmar does not. So if you're more of a traditional player of the game, you might want to stick with Sigmar for now, just to make your life a little bit easier. Mortimer starts with 1 light gem on their player mat, and each player starts with 5 gold each. And now the rest of the gold remain in the inn for the inn to use or for players to use by use of cards. Yeah, the remaining amount of that gold is going to sit there. Move this around a little bit. It's really nice. The cards do have these little pullouts to allow you to easily open them up. Each character will have a 30-card deck, which you can shuffle up. Oh, wrong one. And place next to the player. You normally have your regular deck, and then you have your discard deck. There's even a spot here to help kind of guide you on the bottom if you want to place this like deck, discard, drink me. We'll go over the drink me in a second. Grinderbin has a magical item stack and a discard magical item stack. And Mortimer has a consequences deck and a consequences discard deck. It's cool they have player guides that kind of talk about the benefits of them, how to play them. You can keep these in front of the characters as they're playing so that way you don't have to worry about answering questions. If they have any questions, they can look directly to those decks, which is really nice, that addition. Usually the game doesn't have that. You kind of have to know what you're doing outright immediately. And then, of course, we have the drink deck. Now, drink decks are going to be very interesting. They have effects and discard a card from your hand. And it's 1 alcohol plus because it adds to the drink. So it goes to the next drink below it. Then you have things like coffee that'll sober you up, water which will do nothing, and then action cards that create an additional effect. So you want to shuffle these up, and the way it's going to work is during regular play, you will drink from the stack and hand out drinks from the stack. It counts as basically the idea that you guys all paid for all these drinks upon arriving. And these are the drinks that you guys are drinking as you're going through the game. And then once the drink pile is gone, it's discarded down, used. Everyone has to pay 1 gold to be able to buy another round of drinks, and then it shuffles the deck. So it's very straightforward in regard to that. So everyone in the game is going to start with a drink card on their drink me spot, which they will have potential to drink on their turn. Then each player will draw 7 cards into their hand, and that'll represent how they're going to play the game going forward. General of the turn play is you discard and draw up at the beginning of your turn. So in case you spent cards on other rounds, you can then basically kind of pull them back and discard any cards that you don't find helpful for your round. Then you play an action card, and then you order a drink for someone. You can take a drink off the deck and place it on any player you want on the table, and then you drink your drink, and that is your turn. Other players have specifically additional things. For instance, at the end of Mortimer's turn, he reveals a consequence. At the beginning of Dabarella's turn, she adds a spoon to food counters to resolve making them. And then Grinderbin has to deal specifically selling magical items at the beginning of his turn. Or their turn, I should say. So you can actually put the 3 items that Grinderbin is going to sell on his turn. Although it's not his turn yet, just you can see it. So we've got a blowgun of usefulness. Pick another player, they lose 1 fortitude. The glass half empty. You split a drink you're about to drink in half. You take half the drink's effects, rounded down. The other half of the drink does not go to another player. Reveal the drink first. Mask sobriety, reduce the alcohol content of a drink by 1. So as you see here, they say sometimes these two specifically can only be played during an effect of a drink, whereas the anytime blogan of usefulness can be played at any time and discarded. You can see the gold symbols on them. That's how much it costs to purchase them, and we'll go to that when we get actually to his turn. So to start the round off, I've got no food, so I put no spoons for Dabarella. I can play an action card. I have things like reduce alcohol content by 2. Does it come in a bare glass? I don't know how to play this game. You may play this card when you must ante. Instead of anteing, you leave a round of gambling. We'll talk about gambling in a second. Cat-like reflexes. You may play this card when an action sometimes or anytime card would make you lose fortitude. You lose 1 fortitude instead of the normal amount. The player who played the card also loses a fortitude. Now I'm playing... No, not now. I'm plating. Ignore an event for a complete food in front of you as though you added sufficient counters. Hey, don't try to pull a sneaky. You may play this card when the other player plays a cheating card. You may not play if you have already left the gambling round. And then I'll just sneak a little taste. Discard a food in front of you without resolving its effects. If you do, you gain 2 fortitude. So unfortunately, nothing that it's added some food on the table. And no action cards I want to play at this time. So I will just purchase a drink for Grinderbin. Put that there. And then reveal my drink. It is the Nectar of Plebeius drink. If the Nectar of Plebeius was the result of a drink event or chaser, you may split it with another player. Nectar of Plebeius cannot be affected by any other card that splits a drink. Alright, so that would raise Dabarella's alcohol level to 3. Discard the drink. Turns over. Mortimer now has his 7 cards to start the game. Some really good cards about preventing things effects, but they actually either add on or affect your lie gems, which can cause a consequence. So nothing to do there. I will buy a drink for Dabarella because I don't want Dabarella to have no drinks when it comes into her turn. If people don't buy you drinks and it comes to your drink turn, you just get to skip drinking. But that's really going to have a negative effect on other players because you want them to gain alcohol at the same level. That way the game is a little bit more equal and fair. Now it's time to reveal my drink. It is a light ale. I only go up to 1 alcohol content and then discard. Very nice. And now, unfortunately, I have to reveal a consequence. If my consequence meets that amount of gems, then I have to take that effect. We'll be paying 1 gold to the inn. Thankfully, I only have 1 light gem, so I do not have to pay gold to the inn. And that just stays the way it is. And then moves on. Next one, of course, would be Sigmar. Let's say, oops. Sorry, that was a poisoned arrow. Play this card, discard it, and I get to raise someone's alcohol content by 1. I'm going to say Mortimer, alcohol content is now 2. And that'll be my turn. Reveal my drink card, and it's just a dark ale. Well, I'm not going to avoid that one because it's a very light alcohol. If I had a 3, I might have played one of my ignore alcohol cards. Would have been solid. Beginning of the turn, it's now time to sell magical items. All players would place in their hand a coin or no coin, not letting anyone else know, and that lets people know if they want to purchase. Once anyone's revealed their hands, if it's all equal and everyone wants to purchase an item, Grinderbin gets to decide who he sells the item to, provided that no one has a magical item. If people have magical items already, he gets to choose between the people that don't have it. Regarding people that do have it, if it's everyone has a magical item, he gets to choose who he wants to give it to, and the person that has a magical item has to discard their old magical item to take the new one. And you go through 1 by 1 for each item until they're all resolved. And then you have to pay it. So, like, say for instance that Dabarella purchased the Mask of Sobriety. So she has to pay 1 gold to Grinderbin specifically for it. We'll say Mortimer bought the blowgun of usefulness, has to pay 1 gold, and nobody bought the glass is half empty. So it gets discarded. He will then reveal the new items in the shop that will be effective next round. Well, those are some really good ones. All right, so the next thing to do is to buy a drink. Of course, Mortimer has had a drink, but I'm going to also, after placing the drink, put down Buka, more drinks, which allows me to pay 1 gold and order 2 more drinks to people. Now, whenever you have a drink on top of a drink, it goes on top of it. The newest drink goes on the very top of the drink order. The reason being is that there are drinks that sometimes have chaser effects. When you reveal a drink that has a chaser effect, it means it is a chaser to the next drink. And so the drinks will then stack and play at the same exact time, which can be brutal, but also a really good way of taking people out of the game. And that would be a full round of the game. To go into something that's really cool, I want to talk about one more thing before we go, and that is going to be gambling. Hypothetically speaking, if you had gotten hands with gambling, you would play something like gambling, I'm in, at the center of the table. Each player, regardless of whether you want to or not, has to ante a coin from their inventory into the gambling, I'm in pile in the center. This is a really fun way to kind of play through. Players will then, on their turn, take their hand, their active hand, and they will find a way to instead play something else, like to add to it. Like, for instance, maybe they can play What's Up Your Sleeve, take control of a round of gambling, pick another player and force them to leave a round of gambling. So right now, because he's played this card, he is now in control of gambling, and he's going to force out Sigmar. Sigmar can no longer be in the gambling. They're out completely. They don't get their gold back. They don't get to add cards to it. They're just out. Then it goes to Grinderbin. He's going to hold true for now and just stick in. If it goes back all the way around to Mortimer, and Mortimer had no one's taking over, Mortimer wins the pile. But Dabarella is going to play I raise, takes control of the round of gambling. Every player still in, including them, has to now ante another gold coin into the pile. You can see here the gold pile is getting a lot larger. Now, currently, Dabarella has the control over gambling. So if it gets all the way back to her, then she wins that whole pile. He's going to hold back and not do anything. Grinderbin has nothing. And Dabarella would take all of this gold, which is just 7 coins, but it's going to affect you start with 10. That is a massive bonus to them. Now, Mortimer, having just lost, is going to actually play a specific card called Let's Try That Again. You may play this card immediately after another player wins a round of gambling. Start a round of gambling. Your ante comes from the inn. Each of the player antes normally. So he does not have to ante. Having already been pushed out, Sigmar is going to just play Go Away, I'm cataloging my weapons to not have to be involved. And Grinderbin is going to basically say, gotta go mine the store to avoid out of it. And having just won the round and sacked away most of her coins, Dabarella is going to play, I don't know how to play this game, and you may play this to prevent yourself from having to ante. So all 3 of the players played a card to prevent them having to ante into the game. And so therefore, Mortimer wins, but only the 1 coin he didn't ante himself, which is pretty funny. But yeah, so gambling, I'm in. It's just a great way to move the money around the table. You force drinks upon people that they have to drink. It's just a lot of fun, and it can go pretty fast sometimes, depending on how much alcohol you're consuming in the game, but it's really just a good and fun playthrough of how to go. And you can add more and more characters as long as you have more and more sets of Red Dragon in. Hopefully you guys find this interesting. Hopefully you guys pick this up for yourself, and we will see you guys next time.